All right, welcome to the Hank Haney Podcast. You are either listening to the Hank Haney Podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts, or you're watching the Hank Haney Podcast on nofilter.net or on my Hank Haney Podcast YouTube channel, where you can catch me there. Today's podcast is brought to you by haneyuniversity.com. That is my website. Where you find out information about how to get better at golf, lessons, signing up for my free instructional videos that go out once a week. And you can also find out information on my new Hank Haney Golf Studio, which is currently under construction in Deerfield, Illinois. Really excited about that. Going to have 4 simulators, a well putt, big tilt putting green with the Sam Putt Lab, and a lot of great stuff going on there. It is going to be super, super cool. Actually, I'm getting close on that. The work is ongoing, and we should be ready to go by the middle of February. So that's going to be pretty good stuff. And my online lessons are still coming. So those of you that are interested in that, just hang on. I'm getting out. I'm in the practice stage right now. So I'll make sure I got all this technology down, which I am not the greatest at. So I got to get that down before I throw that out there and have a bunch of people asking me for lessons. All right. Today's podcast, I want to talk about the television ratings on the PGA Tour. Now, this has been big news this year because the ratings are in the dumpster. They're having a dumpster fire. And I've talked about this before, but now all of a sudden everybody's talking about this. And in particular, even the corrupt golf media, who tries to just like dog LIV every chance they can and prop up the PGA Tour, even the most loyal guys are starting to say, hey, there's a little bit of a problem. They're not a little bit of a problem. There's a big, humongous problem. And the problem is it's not just one thing that's causing this problem. Now, you got football going on. You got the football playoffs. Nothing is going to beat NFL football. But you've got no stars. Even when you do have stars, and they're all split between LIV and PGA Tour. But even when you have stars, they're not there. Like they're playing in San Diego last week. Harris English wins, and his 5th win on the tour. Seems like a great guy. Nice win. Hit 4 fairways and 9 greens on Sunday. Battle it out. Shoot 73. Good job. Not a ball striking performance for the ages. It was windy. Was tough. But not something you're going to just be glued to the television for, watching some historic moment. Harris English winning his 5th tournament on the PGA Tour. You've got no Tiger Woods. You had no Scotty Scheffler. He's still out, hadn't played yet. Puncture wound on his hand from Christmas when he cut his hand on a glass. And you got no Xander Schauffele. Jordan Spieth, Justin. Whoever the stars are on the PGA Tour, they're not there. They didn't show up. And I knew this was going to happen. As soon as the players got more money, and they all got paid more money because of LIV, the first thing they did was they said, "Oh, here we go. I got more money than I'm ever going to need. What I don't have is an unlimited amount of time for myself, for my family." So what are they? And they also figured out, you know what? If I don't play as much, I can play better. Now, they didn't used to think this when they didn't make all that money. When they didn't make all that money, they would be out there playing all the time. You think, back in the day, Ben Hogan, Byron Nelson, they played every single week, every week. When I first started coaching on tour, early 80s, I remember Mark O'Meara, he would play 35, 36, 38 weeks a year. They played all the time. And then he'd play 38 weeks PGA Tour, and then he'd go overseas and play. So he probably played like 42 weeks a year. And it's just steadily gone down. As the players make more money, they feel less pressure to play. And then they realize, which they kind of already knew, but they didn't. They when a guy's not making money, he's going to keep playing. But when you've got money, you're going to not play because you realize that if you don't play as much and you prepare better, you're probably going to make just as much money. You're probably going to play just as good, if not better, which is typically the case. So as soon as the players made all this money, and they made a bunch of money because of LIV, PGA Tour all of a sudden found all this money to pay the players more, and when they did, all the top players stopped playing as much. And I documented this, last year. I mean, the top players playing 20, 22 weeks a year. Maybe they throw in a couple other events somewhere else, but it is not anywhere like it used to be, and it never will be again. That's the thing. Now, couple that with the fact that half the names you've heard of have gone to the LIV Tour, which is, their first tournament hadn't even been played yet. And you're left with a bunch of guys playing that nobody has ever heard of. I was talking to a good friend of mine, former golf writer, when they had golf writers, and he's as big a golf fan as you'll ever see. He loves the game of golf, and he told me, he said, "Hey, I couldn't even watch it." He said, "I'm like looking at, I don't even know who are those guys." Harris English beats Sam Stevens. Wouldn't know him from the Man in the Moon. Next, Andrew Novak. Wouldn't know him from the Man in the Moon either. I read that he lives on the same island, Sea Island, I guess it is, in Georgia as Harris English. Sunjay M. Okay, I do know him. Chris Ventura. No idea. Couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Hayden Springer. Couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Taylor Pendrith. I've heard of him. I mean, not that he's ever won anything. Maybe he has one. I don't know. I wouldn't know him if I passed him on the street. Will Gordon. I mean, I don't know any of these guys. The first guy I come to that I really, really know is Keegan Bradley. Now he is the Ryder Cup captain. He's the Ryder Cup captain for the USA, and typically they pick the Ryder Cup captain when he's like his career is kind of over. Now he's playing good. He may even make the team. Who knows? But I mean, he's won one major tournament, won a PGA Championship. He's won a few other tournaments. But I mean, he's your headliner. Him and Hideki Matsuyama, who's finished 32nd, tied with Jason Day. I mean, these are guys that are bigger name stars because they've won major championships. See, that's the thing. I mean, if you don't win a major championship, all these other tournaments mean nothing. So if you don't win a major championship, you've got no way to make a name for yourself. And if you only have 4 major championships a year, okay, maybe you can be the star of the Ryder Cup. Who knows? If you're the star of the Ryder Cup, maybe that gives you a little bit of a name recognition. But you got to be the star of a winning Ryder Cup team, which is hard to come by if you're on the United States team, and you got to do something super special. I mean, the point is it's very, very difficult to become well known on the PGA Tour. They tried it. This Ludwig Aberg, okay, they keep pumping him up like he's like every couple years you get a guy from Europe and they go, this is he is the new sliced bread. And this guy could be it. I mean, he could be the sliced bread. But the way they pump him up, you'd think it's like, I mean, let's see him win some. I know he played good at the Masters last year, played good in some major championships, got a great golf swing. He finished 42nd at Torrey Pines. Finished 35th in strokes gained tee to green. He finished 40-something in approach shot to the green, 20-something in greens of regulation race, means he was getting it on some greens, but a mile away. 56th in putting. And, he's going to be the next great player. I mean, the point is, boy, it is hard to watch. I mean, I find it so hard to watch golf nowadays. And I know people rip the LIV, but I like to see, if I'm going to watch golf, I want to at least see players hit some shots. So the PGA Tour, the final round at the Farmers Insurance, at the Torrey Pines, the first 9 holes took 3 hours to play. They're playing in threesomes. Now, I don't think if they got rid of LIV, if they put all the LIV players with the PGA Tour back onto the PGA Tour, if they stop talking about money like people always like to blame it on this now, they're talking about money to it. I think they could do all those things. They could fix slow play. I still don't think their ratings are going to be great. Everything would have an incremental effect on it. But 3 hours, even Dottie Pepper, she's been with CBS forever, talking walking the fairways and talking golf, and she's a PGA Tour diehard. And even she said in the telecast, they got to do something about this. Why don't they do something? Like, even if it would have some kind of effect, any kind of an effect, why don't they 3 hours? It took them 5 hours and something to play, 5 hours and 29 minutes to play a round of golf when you're playing in a threesome. I mean, how can people watch this? And I tell you what, the answer is they don't. I mean, that's the answer. So I'm watching on the telecast, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many commercials, there's so many this, there's so many that. I mean, they don't hardly even show any shots. And I'm looking on Twitter, and all of a sudden pops up in the X. It's incredible, because if you're interested in something, it's like it reads your mind, and all this stuff starts popping up that you're interested in. And obviously, I'm interested in golf, so this pops up. This is a tweet from Josh Bennett. Now, he goes by Jish Swish, JISHSWISH. Jish Swish. Got a great thread on there that he did. Okay. And I text him. I said, Josh, that was awesome, bud. So what he did was, he'd been thinking about doing this for a while. And he was thinking about analyzing the golf telecast. And he recorded 3 hours and 47 minutes of the Golf Channel's telecast. And he came up with all kinds of stuff. And he said he didn't really have a lot of opinions on it. He just said, this is what I found out. And everybody kind of makes their own opinion from it. I thought it was really good. So here's some of the stuff he came up with. There were 17 official commercial breaks, ranging from 1 minute, 15 seconds to 3 minutes and 1 second. There was an additional 6 breaks where they talked to and promoted PGA Tour partners. Those are between 10 and 20 seconds. Total commercial time, 39 minutes, 49 seconds, 18% of the broadcast. They got to make money. They got to do something. They had all these 7 playing through breaks where they go to a commercial, but they're still playing something on the screen. And when you add that to the commercial breaks, you basically saw ads for 57 minutes, 25% of the broadcast. So 1 out of every 4 minutes. So you're watching the television, you're watching an ad. That seems like a lot. Now, I don't know. I wonder how it compares to football, or basketball or what. But it seems like in football, okay, you got some ads there at halftime. You got some I guess you got ads when they're kicking off. I don't know. Maybe it's about the same. It just doesn't flow as good in the golf when you got all this stuff going on. Anyway, they showed 268 golf shots, 1.2 shots per minute. So for every minute you watch, you're going to maybe see one shot. 41% putts. Now, I feel like when I watch the LIV, I see a lot of shots, and I see more shots, and I don't see as many putts. Why do they show you short? I've always thought, why do they show you short putts? I mean, why don't they just record it? If the guy misses, come back and show you he missed. I mean, I'm talking about little tap ins. It just seems like it's just a way. 41% putts. So you're half the time you're watching just the guy might as well be playing a putt putter. What's that thing Tiger's got where they go, the little putting course thing? Well, you might as well be showing a tournament of that. You'd only be missing 59% of everything else. They showed 24% approach shots, 22% tee shots, and 13% short game. All right. They showed 25 different players of the 155 player field, so 16% of the players. 9 players were featured more than 10 different times. Hideki, Pavon, Ludwig, Max Homa, Keegan Bradley, Sahith Theegala, Tony Finau, Zach Johnson. These are their big names. And Jackson Covan. Wouldn't know him from the Man on the Moon. They show the top guys. This is the early week broadcast, I guess, or second day. They spent 5 minutes and 39 seconds on their walk and talk thing, which is their new thing where they're doing that a lot more, where they walk in the fairway and they talk to the guy. And I guess that helps you to get to know the guy. And their biggest walk and talk was Zach Johnson. 4 minutes and 11 seconds. They walked with Zach Johnson. They walked with Zach Johnson. And he's talking up a storm for 4 minutes and 11 seconds. They spent 11 minutes and 20 seconds of the broadcast time on player interviews. Okay, it's pretty incredible. 6 minutes and 27 seconds, they had flyover content, meaning they got a drone flying over the golf course. So they show, they're at Torrey Pines, they're showing the ocean, they're showing this and that. They showed players setting up to their ball, getting ready to hit. 5 minutes and 3 seconds of just setting up, not doing anything. 2 minutes of replays, shots that they'd already shown, and they had all these breaks, okay, between breaks, and they had 3 breaks of over 2 minutes and 2 to 3 minutes. At 5 different occasions they showed, and there's 5 different occasions they showed less than 10 shots between commercial breaks. He said around the 30-minute mark, they came back from a commercial break and showed 2 shots before they went to one of those playing through segments, another commercial break. They showed exactly 2 shots before they went. I mean, at that point, you'd think people are like, man, it's time to turn the channel. It really shows you why it's become so uninteresting to watch. I mean, they have to do something. I wonder, and I don't know what the answer is. It's not my job, but wonder what they're thinking they're going to do. I mean, it seems like everything they've done is kind of to cut down. When Jim Nantz was doing this broadcast, and he was in Kansas City. He wasn't in San Diego. He wasn't in San Diego and then going to Kansas City for the football game. He was in Kansas City. He was watching in the studio. And there, they got Kevin Kisner is your lead analyst now on whatever. I don't know if he's on NBC, or I guess he's on NBC because they got Trevor Immelman on CBS. So you're gonna have Kevin Kisner. Nothing against Kevin Kisner. He's funny. Seems like a nice guy. That's got to be a little budget cut though. I mean, Johnny Miller used to be on there. I don't know. I can guarantee you Kevin Kisner's not making, at least if you factor in inflation and everything, he ain't making what Johnny Miller was making. That's for sure. So what are they going to do, and why are they not concerned with certain things they can fix, like slow play? Why wouldn't they? Why don't they show more shots? Why don't they keep telling me all the time that it's so important, that PGA Tour is so important to win these tournaments, and it's so important that nobody's showing up to play in them that you've ever heard of. It's so important that nobody's watching on TV. LIV's an exhibition. Well, everything's an exhibition. I've said that many a time. I like to watch golf, but but to me, it's kind of, I'm watching the golf and I'm watching the course. And if Harris English win, you like to see a competition. You like to see, can the guy hit the shot? It's boiling down. Who's going to win? I enjoy that. I mean, Harris English had to par the last hole to win. Made a great 2-putt on 16 and 17. I mean, that's good stuff. Okay, it's I don't really have a rooting interest on anybody. A lot of times that's why people watch. They watch so they can have a rooting interest. I didn't really have a rooting interest in anybody, but it's still there's some interest in watching, just see how somebody's going to perform under pressure. But as far as them playing for something, nobody cares how much money they're playing for. Matter of fact, they'd probably rather not hear that. And, they're going to get a trophy, and the trophy means less and less nowadays. I like to watch golf to be entertained. One of the things that's entertaining is like beautiful golf courses. Like I like to watch the tournament of Hawaii. I like to watch the tournament in Pebble Beach. I like to watch the tournament at Torrey Pines. I like to watch great golf courses. That makes it more fun to watch, for sure. Watching a lot of golf shots makes it fun. I don't care who's winning, but I like to watch golf shots. I like to watch players. I'd rather not watch 41% putts. I don't know why you got to watch so many putts. Maybe a few more shots, a few less putts. And I'd like to watch. This is one of the reasons I like watching LIV, is they show more shots, and I get to watch somebody. They might not be playing good. They might not be winning. I don't really even care who's winning. It's kind of interesting to see who's going to win, but I'm not I'm not life or death who's winning. Doesn't really bother me one way or another. But what I'm looking at is let me see some shots. Let me watch some technique. Let me see them hit this difficult shot and that difficult shot. Let me see those things, and let me see somebody that I might be able to pick out of a lineup and know who they are. Let me watch that person. If I'm watching somebody that I am not scouring the TV to see if I can figure out who's the next star going to be. I don't watch the what is that thing? USFL? What the other football league? I don't watch that. I don't watch that to see if I can pick out the one guy that should be in the NFL. I don't watch that to see if I could pick out some guy that might be in the NFL. I don't watch it because you know why? Because I don't know any of those guys, and I know they're not as good as the guys that are really good. Because if they were, they'd be in the NFL. So I'm not watching because there's a lot of great players over on LIV. And all the great players on the PGA Tour pretty much aren't showing up for these tournaments. So what's there to watch? Now, I'll watch when the top players show up. I'll watch when they show up. When like I'd rather watch tonight the TGL. Okay, I'd rather watch tonight on the TGL and even though hitting into a screen, I'd rather watch hitting into a screen, because what they're going to do is they got a shot clock and they're going to hit it in the screen fast. I'm not going to have to waste a lot of time. Now, hopefully the announcers don't talk and I can hear the players talk. I don't want to hear the announcers. I just want to watch them hit. And tonight, they got Rory and they got Tiger. I don't care who wins. I don't care what they shoot. I don't care like how many holes they're playing. It doesn't matter. I get to watch Tiger and Rory, and I get to see them swing, and I get to see some shots, and hopefully the launch monitor is working, and it doesn't say Tiger sailed it over the green 30 yards when I know he didn't, because I've never seen him hit that shot ever in his career. One time, not once has he ever done it, but yet he's done it multiple times on TGL. So we'll see if it works tonight. That's what I like to watch. I hope I'm going to get that opportunity soon when I tune in on the PGA Tour as well. But I'll tell you what, if they're going to play 9 holes in 3 hours, I'm going to watch something else because I don't want to watch nothing. I want to watch some shots. That's what I want to watch. All right, that's my take for today. Hope everybody enjoyed the podcast. Hit the follow button on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts, and watch all the great programming on nofilter.net. Go to my YouTube channel and Hank Haney Podcast on YouTube, and you can check me out there in person. Hope everybody has a great day, and we'll talk to you soon on the Hank Haney Podcast.